applicant, we're not going to give you the visa.
She says anyone concerned about the changes should reach out to an immigration attorney. I'm Frida Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Support for KABF 88.3 FM comes from listeners and community partners. If you're a business owner or plan to invest and would like information on how it can be announced on KABF, contact our office at 501-372-6119. That's 501-372-6119.
Big changes are going to
coming in hot this morning with tweet talking about oops. I can't wait to have this conversation today. But first, let me make sure that you know that you are listening to KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. You are tuned into the workplace. You are tuned into the workplace, always reminding you every single week that we have work to do. And that's what we're about to talk about right now. But first, I also need to welcome you into this space in the spirit of Salbona, that spirit of oneness that binds us together by our humanity. So everybody is a part of this conversation. We want everybody to join in. And I will say this though, the phone lines will be open. Oh, hey, Hotep. Hotep is on the line already, wishing us life, prosperity, and health. I am going to open up the phone lines, but I'm not going to open them up immediately. I'm not going to open them up immediately. But yes, you are welcome in this space, all of you, where we are talking about the work that we need to do as a community, as a world, as a nation, as a planet. That's what we'll be talking about today. I am your co-host, the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise. Toney is out of the studio today. And just what those of you who know him and love him and are missing him right now, just hold him in sacred space. Just hold him in sacred space. I'm sure he'll tell you all about it when he comes back. But when we hold people in sacred space, it simply means that we sit with them, that we find a place where we can be silent. You can have a little music, but I mean, you're not doing a whole lot of talking, but music is fine. But you're bringing that person into the space with you. So you'll call their name. You'll bring that person into the space with you. You're just sitting, you name the person that you're bringing into the space with you, and you just be present. You're fully present with this person, just thinking about them, remembering them, praying for them if that's the case. And then you do that for however long you can do that. Some of us have a hard time sitting for more than 5 minutes, definitely more than 10 minutes, but that's all it means because you're depending on whoever this person believes in the higher power. You're depending on that force to handle whatever is going on in the person's life. You're just sitting with them. You're just communing with them. You are their companion. You're on the journey with them to wherever it is that they are going. So if that's what you are able to do, yeah, just hold some sacred space. I also want to let you know, the calendars have arrived. The calendars have arrived. And we got two kind of calendars going on. Let me get this one right here. All right, so we have this calendar, which is Black Americans Attorney General Ben Crump, trial lawyer for justice. And it's a 2026 historical African American calendar. And so this is free at the station. If you are at the station and you want to get the free calendar, if you want to get the free calendar, you can come to 2101 South Main Street right here in Little Rock, 72206. If you are not able to come, but you want a calendar anyway, you can reach out to our office at 501-372-6119. Give Charles your information. I'll be more than happy to bring it to you. I don't have to come to your house. I don't have to come in your house. Look, I'm willing to be right there at the intersection. Meet me at the intersection and I'll just pass it to you through the window. Like, just if that's what you want, like, just want to make sure that you know that there are free calendars here for you. Black America's Attorney General Ben Crump is on the front of them, trial lawyer for justice. And also, I have our EJI calendars. Look, it's worth it just for the picture. Guys, y'all see this picture on this calendar? Oh my gumdrops. It's $5. The calendar is $5. It's worth it just for the picture that's on the front. But of course, the information that's inside of it is really helpful to those of us who are continuing the fight against all systems of whiteness and the systems of white inhumanity, as well as continuing to remind you that that people who are non-white, all of us matter. All of our bodies are important. Like, leave us alone. Let us live. Let us celebrate let us be celebrated in this space. And so I have 2 of those calendars because I have 5 of them. 3 of them have already been claimed. And so I have 2. They're free too. I'm not going to charge you for these calendars. The 2 calendars, if you want them, you can hit me up. Area code 228-236-7449. That's area code 228-236-7449. Or again, you can call the office. If you're more comfortable calling the office, that number again is 501 501-372-6119, 501-372-6119. So calendars are here, whichever one you want. If you want both, that's fine too. Yes. So let me tell you why I want to wait a minute for the phone lines to be open. I have been trying to have a conversation with you all for, I feel like it's been 3 weeks. I've been trying to have a conversation, and I have not been able to invite you into the conversation with me because we keep talking about other things, which is fine because that's how we flow. So when you call in, whatever you say, we incorporate it into the life of our messaging, our session, and we go from there. And I don't mind. Again, I don't mind it. However, I do want to introduce another topic, and I really want to talk about it. And so, because of that, I want to just take some time getting the information to you, and then saying, okay, all right, now the phone lines are open so that you can call in. And another reason why it's important for us to for me to say, like, hold on a minute. We want to make sure that the comments that you give to us, the comments are comments that are about you're moving the conversation forward. That's what we need you to do. We need you to move the conversation forward. So it's about you commenting on what is being talked about, and then relating your comments to the topic, and then we can go from there. So that's very important. Some people, I've been getting a lot of calls, and some people, when you do call in, we want you to be ready to make your comment, and then free the line, because there are people, I'm understanding that there are people who are trying to get in but cannot get in because somebody else is talking for a while. And so we have to wait for that person to stop talking. And then the person is trying to get in, they don't get in. And so I'm trying to do my best to manage these phones. Okay. And so I will let you know when the phone lines are open. The phone lines will be open, but they are not open right now. But you can get ready. 501-433-0088 in case you need to write the number down. 501-433-0088. So I wanted to root this conversation and to ground this conversation, to source this conversation in the EJI tidbit, in the song, and also in a message from Jeremiah Wright. Shout out to the loyal listener who is always, I'm talking about without fail, always sending me something that's going to feed my mind, that's going to ignite my spirit. I mean, sometimes it sets me on fire. Sometimes I'm like, yeah. So thank you. I really, really appreciate you. All of you who reach out to me for whatever reason, when you just want to call and check on me, when you want to call and check in, because I've been looking for you, like whatever that is, it means so much. That's why we are community radio. I'm still thinking about how knowledge just bust up in here Tuesday. Like I was listening, I thought I'd come in. That doesn't happen anywhere else except on community radio right here at KABF 88.3 FM. And so I am excited about all of what you all do to help us have a conversation. And so I want to start with the song. Okay. The song is by Tweet, and it says, Oops. And she's going through this song, and she's been out. She's had a good time. She's been out on the town, maybe with her friends, maybe not, maybe with her lover, maybe not, I don't know. But she gets home real early in the morning. And as she makes her way to retiring for the morning, or retiring for the night, however you look at it, she starts to realize that something's happening with her body. Like, what's going on? And so the first time that I heard this song, I thought that she had picked up someone, or someone had picked her up at wherever bar, and she brought them home with her. So I thought that she was engaged in relations with this person that she met at the bar. That's what I thought she was talking about. And so she's like, oops, there go my skirt down, drop it to my feet. Oh, there go my shirt up over my head. Like, I didn't mean for this to happen, but hey, in the moment, that's what my body just took over. And I'm like, okay, let's go with it. But I didn't even expect, like, what is happening right now? What? I didn't know I was going to do this. So that's how I understood it the first time that I listened to it. But it is the same case with me, whether I'm researching hymns, if I'm researching passages in the Bible or the Quran, or the Church of the Mormon book of the Church of Latter-day Saints, whatever it is, when I return to it a second time or a third time or a 50th time, it speaks to me in a different way. I get something that out of it that I didn't see before. Same thing happened with this song. So I come back to the song a few days ago and I'm like, wait a minute. I think she is up in there by herself. So wait, she touching herself. Is that what she's doing? Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about that the first time. So I looked it up. I'm like, am I right about this? Is she touching herself? And so then there's this, and I didn't know, there's an entire conversation about this song, about the fact that whether or not she's touching herself. And the reason why it's controversial, because we have all of these ideas about what people should or should not be able to do with their bodies. I was complicit just for a moment, because I said, I better not play that, because they might get mad. And I was like, wait a minute, that's the problem. The problem is we don't talk about all the things that we need to talk about relating to our bodies. We are human. There are natural instincts that we have that we should be able to go with without being shamed about it and without somebody telling us what we can and cannot do. For the life of me, I do not understand why prostitution is illegal. How you gonna tell somebody what they can and can't do with their body? I don't think it's a problem for you to touch yourself. Why? How you gonna tell somebody what they can and can't do with their body? And then we talk about this, like masturbation, we talk about it. If you talk about it, if you know anything about it, it's healthy, it's normal, it's human for you to do that, for you to have those impulses, and you don't have to be ashamed about them. And so that's the controversy around this song. And so first, it's like, it depends on how you hear it. You can hear it either way. Because music is art, it's the same way when I go in and somebody's with me and we walk through a gallery. Both of us are looking at the same thing, seeing something different. That's the power. That's the beauty of art. And so music is art. So however you hear the words, then you're right. Your interpretation is right, because nobody can tell you how you are engaging with this song. And so the song is about her emotions driving her decisions. And it's that part that I want to lift up out of all the controversy, lift it up out of all of whatever she had on her mind when she wrote the song, or whoever wrote the song. That's not what this conversation is about. I just want to honor the song. First, tell you what I feel like the song is saying to us, and then let me tell you what I'm getting out, what I have extrapolated from the songs. And so this idea, this notion, this way of being, where we allow our emotions, we allow our feelings, we allow our bodies sometimes to override our minds. And especially when I think about Black folks, that is part of what makes us the brilliant people that we are, because we are going to be in the moment. We're going to feel in the moment. We're going to react in the moment. We're going to respond in the moment. We don't have a problem letting you know what's on our minds. And we don't have a problem going toe to toe with you. We don't have a problem with any of those things, because in this moment, this is what my feelings are leading me to do. And I'm going to honor my feelings. And that is a great way to be. And I love being like this, especially when you turn on the music and watch the feelings in our body, get us to moving. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that on its face. However, what happens is there are some situations in which you should not allow your emotions to lead you. You feel something in your body, you get in your feelings, and you want to react and you want to respond. But if you do it in that moment, it is going to cause some trouble in your life. It may damage some relationships. It might cost you your job. It might even cost you your life. And so at some point, we have to be able to realize, to navigate in such a way we can say, wait, look, I know this is not going to end well for me, because I can feel it. I can feel it. Let me get out of here. And so we got to figure out, when are those times? When are those moments when we absolutely have to say no to the anger? Let it, it's still going to be there. Like, it's not going to leave, but you can manage it with your mind. That's the point. You can manage it with your mind. And so sometimes people, I do that. I do that. I know that I am one who rarely will you ever encounter me speaking through my emotions. I had to learn that the hard way. I don't do that anymore. Once upon a time, I did that. Don't get me wrong. Once upon a time, baby, I would let you have it. I don't care where I was, who you were, what you were doing, what I was doing. I didn't care about the consequences. It didn't make me no difference. Yeah, I'm not there anymore. Thanks. Thank you, universe, for growth and development. Thank you. And so we have to be able to say, yes, I feel these emotions. I know that they are there, but let me think this thing through first. Before I make a move, let me think this thing through. There's a word that you'll see in the Bible. I've only found it really in the Psalms. And it depends on what translation, it depends on how old your Bible is. But those older Bibles, I know for sure that you have the Psalm at the end of a verse of Psalm over in the margin. You'll see the word Selah, Selah. And what that means is to pause and calmly think about that. So many of us, when we read whatever sacred text we read, we just read so we can be able to check off the box and say, hey, I read something. But really the purpose of reading is, again, to sit with it in sacred space, to just be still with the words, and just let them fall over you, fall fresh on you, whatever book you're reading. And then think about it. Think about it. Just stop for a moment and think about it. And so that's what I'm asking us to do, to think about whether or not we are allowing our emotions to lead our decisions, or whether or not we are those who allow our decisions to override our emotions in times when we think that that's what's best for us. And the only way you can answer that is to know who you are. Now, Kendrick Lamar done tried to tell us who we are. Like, they are not like us. We're not like them. And however you want to interpret what he's saying, I interpret it as, listen, as a culture, as a nation, as a group, as a tribe of Blackness, we only move according to who we are. We move a certain way that's not like the way other people move. Not saying there's anything wrong with how they move, and it's certainly nothing wrong with how we move. It's just different, and we have got to acknowledge the fact that it is different. And every time we chase whiteness, every time we long to be part of the system of white inhumanity, we lose ourselves because we want to feel like we belong. We want to feel like we are accepted. We want to feel like we can be celebrated. That's what we want to do. We're chasing that feeling, and it makes us complicit. But if we stop for a moment and allow our minds to override those feelings and say, wait a minute, I don't need this system. I don't need this system to do. I don't need you to do nothing for me. You don't have to affirm me. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to embrace me, because I already know that I am that I am. And so the mind will give you a different way of reframing what you're trying to do, who you are and how you want to move. And so that's what the song, that's how I'm using the song, because she let her emotions, she let her emotions override her mind at the time, if she was with somebody else. Now, if she was by herself, she didn't need her mind to override her emotions. Yes, ma'am, do what you want to do with your body. And I also want to read the conversation in the EJI tidbit for today. Now, I'm about to do something that I don't do, and I don't encourage you to do it, but I'm going to read more than one of the tidbits, because I need all of them. I want to remind you of the tidbit remind you of the tidbit I did on Tuesday. And then I'm going to read, I'm going to read 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to read 5 tidbits for this conversation. On January 18th, 1771, North Carolina lawmakers vote to provide financial compensation to white owners of enslaved Black people who are executed by the state. On January 20th, in 1870, Southern Democrats declare null and void the election of United States Senator Hiram Revels of Mississippi, the first African American senator, and argue that Black people are ineligible to serve in Congress. On Thursday, January 22nd, the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit rules that restaurants in Washington, D.C. can continue refusing service to Black people. Saturday, January 24th, a white mob in Arkansas accuses Ben Daniels, a Black man, of theft for trying to spend a $50 bill, and lynches him along with his 2 sons. Now, I needed all 5 of those. Because in the first 4, the only way that people were able, people were able to treat Black folks the way that they were treating Black folks, the way they were harming, dehumanizing, and assaulting, and murdering, and lynching, and killing, and raping. And the only way they were able to do that was because they made laws that allowed them to do it. Or if they didn't make the law that allowed them to do it, they gave permission to somebody else to do it, and then they protected them with some other law that they done made up. And so all this time we around here, especially Black folks, this is for conversation for everybody, but especially Black folks, we walking around moving by our feelings. We don't want to vote because, child, they ain't done that for me. I can't. You in that you're feeling rejected, you're feeling unseen, you're feeling unheard, you're feeling disrespected. And so those feelings cause you to say, so I'm no longer going to vote because they're not satisfying my feelings. But if we see law, if we pause for just a moment and calmly think about this, all of what we need to happen is going to come through the vehicle of government. So in order for us to make sure that we have some kind of resource, because you cannot legislate people's minds. People are going to hate, people are going to murder, people are going to kill, people are going to dislike. They're going to do all of those things because they are human and we have biases. Okay? Implicit and explicit biases. So that's going to happen. But if it happens as it stands right now, Knowledge and I were talking about it. Knowledge walked with me on Tuesday. He was like, come on, sis, let's keep walking. I'll walk with you. It was okay. So we were walking and we were talking about, with the work that they're trying to do with fighting the prison and the work that they're trying to do. Yeah, that's in Franklin County that he's inviting us to. Right. And we were talking about like, we got a trifecta. Like every branch that we're dealing with of government is controlled by people that have been voted into office that do not have our best interests in mind. No, we used to just say they didn't have the interests of Black folks in mind, but now y'all done had to rethink that thing with what's going on with immigration. Y'all like, oh, wait a minute, I thought this was just for the Black people. No. And it's some white folks, it's affecting you too. I would never forget the conversation Toney and I had where he was signing somebody up for what they call Obamacare. And but they called it the Affordable Care Act. The person was signed up for it, and then the person said, well, thank you. I appreciate that because I don't want no Obamacare. Excuse me, Miss Ma'am. Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, same thing. Like your feelings about how you feel about Black folks gonna get you to the point where you don't want the health care, because one of those another person he went to talk to, they said, well, I don't want it then. They did not want health care because it was coming from Obama, according to them. So we're going to have those situations where people do things that are not in their best interest because they're fueled by emotions that are driven by the false narratives that plague us all day, every day, and not taking a moment to think. And so all of these things what happened in 1771, what happened in 1870, what happened in 1953, and what also happened in 1771, 1870, 1953. Did I read this one? 1948, on Wednesday, on January 21st in 1948, United States Senator James Eastland of Mississippi and ardent segregationist successfully blocks the passage of a federal anti-lynching bill in 1948. He was a senator. So I read those four because I'm saying, listen, you cannot continue to believe that politics don't matter. People, I don't follow that. People like, I don't vote, I'm not vote. We cannot stay in that place. We cannot allow our emotions to keep us in that place. We've got to start thinking about this thing, sitting with it, examining it, interrogating it, asking ourselves questions about our own complicity, if there is any, how and why. We got to start using our minds. And then I wanted to use the one about Arkansas, because so many times when we think about this, when we think about these things that happen, some people are like, oh, that was a long time ago, or oh, that was the dirty South, or oh, like this entire planet, this entire world, racism is global. It is a global phenomenon, global. And so when we say, oh, that's what they did in DC, or oh, that's what they did down south, oh, that's what they did in the federal level. Oh, no, even right here where we are housed as a station, KABF, it happens here. So I wanted to make sure we ground ourselves in this conversation of moving by our emotions because we're mad at what the government is doing. So now we don't want to be participants in it. And then finally, I want you to listen to this clip from Jeremiah Wright. This is Reverend Jeremiah Wright He is speaking at a NAACP conference. And it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop a video in the middle. So I'm just gonna play it. It's about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna try my best to navigate through it in case I got it on the wrong spot. Okay, listen to this. Wait, can y'all hear it? Why is it not? Let me see if I have it turned all the way up, because I don't hear it coming through here.
Which, including the language of Jesus, Aramaic, was made up of 5 subsets: pragmatics, grammar, syntax, semantics, and phonics, and that African speakers of English and African speakers of French and African speakers of Portuguese and African speakers of Spanish in the New World had created languages, not dialects, all with 5 different subsets. Languages, not Creole or Patois, languages. And Dr. Smitherman compiled the findings of an interdisciplinary research along with her own brilliant findings to show us that the language of Black Americans was different, not deficient. She combined the findings of early childhood education, linguistics, sociolinguistics, and the pedagogy of the oppressed to demonstrate most powerfully that different does not mean deficient. It simply means what? Different. I believe a change is going to come because many of us are committed to changing the way we see others who are different. What Dr. Janice Hale did in the field of education, and what Dr. Geneva Smitherman did in the field of linguistics, Dr. Elkin Sitoli did in the field of ethnomusicology, the field of music. He showed us 40 years ago what Whitney Phipps is teaching some of you for the first time 40 years later. African music is different from European music. It is not deficient, it is different. In most school systems still today, the way most of us over 40 years of age were taught is still being taught. We were taught a European paradigm as if Europe had the only music that there was in the world. As a matter of fact, if you just say the term classical music, today, most hearers of that term will automatically refer to Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Liszt, and already cited Mozart and Handel, European musicians. From grammar school through graduate school, we are taught in 4/4 time that the dominant beat is on 1 and 3. Our band directors, our choir directors, our orchestra directors start us up how? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now that is the European dominant beat. For Africans and African Americans, it is not 1 and 3, it is 2 and 4. I don't even have to teach you. Y'all just listen to Black people clap to this song. Glory, glory, hallelujah. You are clapping on beats 2 and 4. If you got some white friends, they'll be clapping like this, y'all. You say they can't clap. Yes, they can. They clap in a different way. The same fact holds true with 6/8 time. Europeans stress 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. The stress is on 1 and 4, not for Black people. When you got 6/8 time, Blacks stress 2, 3, and 5, 6. Listen to this. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, what a foretaste. Why y'all clapping on the wrong beat? You're not clapping on the wrong beat. Africans have a different meter, and Africans have a different tonality. European music is diatonic, 7 tones. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, mi, do. That's Italian, Europe. In West Africa and South Africa, it is not diatonic with 7 tones. It is pentatonic with 5 tones. Whitney Phipps points out that if you want to know black music, just look at the black keys on the piano. Do, re, fa, sol, la. Do, re, fa, sol, la. Just those 5 tones. Those are the only 5 notes you will hear. And somebody knows the trouble I've seen. It only uses 5 notes.
So Jeremiah Wright is doing this. He's talking to us about difference and knowing that we as Africans. I still didn't get to the part where I told you I didn't know it. It was hard for me to find the part. That's not the part I'm seeing. I still got a plan. I'm trying to see if we're going to get to the part that I really wanted you to hear. But so he's saying that he's talking about different not being deficient, different not being deficient. And so for us, we as Black folks, we're trying to be like a system of folks. We're trying to be like a community, a culture of people that we just cannot be like them because we are not like them. We are different, but that does not mean deficient. And so that's what I wanted us to do. That's what I wanted to get out. Now, phone lines are open, 501-433-0088. Phone lines are open at 501-433-0088. Hotep already on the line with a comment that says, Black excellence brings out white fears. Black excellence brings out white fears. I agree with you, but let's ask the question why. Somebody want to call in and say why? Why are white people who are identified as white, why are you scared of Black excellence? What's there to be afraid of? Because like Jeremiah Wright just said, different does not mean deficient. So our Black excellence don't mean there's anything wrong with you. You just got whatever excellence you got over there, if you have any. That's what this says. And that's what his whole message is about. If we pause and stop being led by our feelings of trying so hard to get somebody to like us, we can stop and think about the divinity that we carry. We can stop and think about the different way we experience music. He goes through not just, he started out talking about in school, all of this, like he brings this thing together, reminding us that a change has got to come, and it's got to come with the renewing of our minds, especially as Black folks, that we are different but not deficient. And so when we walk in excellence, yes, that scares white folks, the system of whiteness. Let me say it like that. It scares the system of whiteness. Why? Because some of y'all might not. Oh, hold on. Somebody's calling. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF. You're live on the air, KABF 88.3. Thanks for calling. I can. Caller. All right, caller. I could hear you. I don't think you could hear me. So if you get a chance, call back. Phone lines are open at 501-433-0088. And so what is it about Black excellence? Oh, some of y'all want to act like y'all don't know about this, but I know about it. I've seen it before. No, I ain't gonna tell you where, it don't matter where. If you want to, it can be wherever you think it is. But if you're in a home where there's a infestation of roaches, and you are up in the middle of the night because you want to go get a glass of milk. I don't know what you're doing up in the middle of the night. Maybe you're going to the bathroom. I don't know. And you flip on that light. Once you flip on that light, those roaches are going to scatter. That's what they're going to do. They're going to scatter. And so when we think about this comment that Hotep made, that Black excellence brings out white fears, it can be thought about in that same way. Because when you are in the presence of Black excellence, it's going to expose where you need more work done. It's going to expose where you need more information, where you need to do some more educating yourself. It's going to expose that. That's what light does. Call you live on the air, KBF. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I see.
Brothers and sisters, and look at their mother and father and tell them, thank you for bringing me into the world with a sinful nature. And see just how dumb that really is. You know, we have picked up teachers from our people who really supposed to make murdered your brother, tortured him just like he been doing us all over the planet, and then say he died for your sin. He died because of their sin. Now, if you and then turn around and the same Roman people getting you back to religion, twisted, and got you in bondage, been having you in bondage, still in bondage ever since. We really need to sit down. I know all this evil stuff ain't fit with a righteous person's nature. You got to have some kind of suspicion about it because it can't be working with you. You need to change your thinking about what you believe in and who done gave it to you and what you still don't. The book, I believe, says what two come together, they're talking about in Jesus' name, in a righteous way, in a divine way. You are putting out more power than 10,000 of you wicked people. You can overcome them just by thinking and change the vibration and frequency of the universe. When we gonna wake up to these realities? You are a divine person. You born with light in you, not no sinful nature. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, so the caller is arguing the point from the religious perspective, saying that when we talk about being different, not being deficient, our difference, some of us feel like we are different because people are different because they sinners, or some people are not sinners. You know, it's whatever. So thinking about you believing this idea, this notion that you are a sinner, that also keeps you from allowing your mind to control your body. Because I know this, look, I'm not talking about what nobody told me. I know this for a fact as a pastor and as one who at one point was tapped to be an apostle. What does that mean? Apostles are the ones who started the churches. So they wanted me to be a church planter. So I went to all kinds of conferences for me to learn, for me to develop the way that I needed to develop in order to plant this church. And so I know for a fact that what we do in the church is that we thrive off of your emotions. We want you to get high. We want you to start shouting. We want you to fall all out in the street. Out of the pew. We want you to do those things because when you are high, you are hot for us. And in that moment, we can ask you for anything. And guess what you're going to do? You are more than likely to respond. Right? And that happens not just in the church, but it does happen in the church. So what the caller is saying is, listen, I'm not saying don't go to church. I'm not even saying don't get high, because it ain't nothing about, listen, it ain't nothing about coming to yourself after you have been slain in the spirit, coming to yourself after you have spoken to it. It's nothing like that. But let's make sure that we are thinking about this thing that we're doing at church. That's what the caller suggests. So same thing I'm talking about. We got to let our minds have more control than our emotions in most cases. But in some cases, you do want your emotions to lead. You got to figure that out. I'm arguing the same case from a space of self-actualization. I don't care whether you go to church or not. I don't care if you had Jesus or not. I don't care what you do with your tithe money. I don't care nothing about that. I want you to sit with yourself and think on these things about who you are and to understand that you are different by design. And so when we chase something other than our design, then we now have become complicit in the system of whiteness, of white inhumanity, who continues to this day to keep acting like whiteness is all there is. Whiteness is superior, and when Toney said that on the air, I didn't even know this, y'all, because people be talking about me all the time. If y'all don't tell me they talking about me, I don't know. So Toney said on the air, I don't know if it was community, but I don't know. He said, yeah, because some people wonder why Denise, why she says that we're centering blackness on Tuesday. So something like that. He said, so somebody was complaining about that. And I said, oh, I didn't know people felt. I'm sure people felt like that, but I didn't know anybody had called in and told him that, right? And so I said, isn't that interesting? That in a world where whiteness is centered all day, every day, all day, every day when somebody dares to curate a space that centers blackness, now they want to call and say, I don't know why she got to do that. See, because I'm different and we are different and somebody's got to speak to us. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of this false narrative about blackness that wants to control our bodies in every aspect. I'm sick of being bombarded with it. Somebody got to create some spaces where we tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth about humans, the human story in America, which absolutely positively includes black folks. In fact, one could argue that if it were not for First Nation people, and if it were not for black people, it would be no such thing as whiteness. It would be no such thing. You exist on our backs. That's how you stand up. You stand up because you're standing on our back. You standing on our shoulder. You standing on our neck. You standing on our head. That's why you exist. So to say that we don't need to have a space where we can be with Jeremiah Wright that says, listen, y'all. And you know why I wanted to pick Jeremiah Wright? I started to say this Tuesday, but I got, the conversation flowed in a different way, and we believe in going with the flow. Phone lines are open. Got about 12 minutes, 501-433-0088. So here's Hotel. I repeat, just because I am pro-black does not mean that I am anti-white. Just because I am pro-black does not mean that I am anti-white. This is not a zero-sum game. This is not a zero-sum game. It's enough everything. This world has a plan. We got everything we need. We got everything we need to feed folks. We got everything we need to house folks. We got everything we need to educate people properly. We have all of the tools. We simply are not willing to use them in a way that honors everybody. That's our problem. And so I wanted Jeremiah Wright to come in with this. I wanted him to get to the part where he started acting like the band. He shows you the difference between a black and white band. He tickled me. That's the part I was trying to get to, but it doesn't seem like I can find it right now. But I said, I know for a fact, I said this Tuesday, I know for a fact that there are some people listening right now who cannot really get with me, cannot really receive the words that I'm saying, cannot really say, you know what, she might be right because I'm woman. Jeremiah Wright, I brought him in because like I was trying to say on Tuesday, the way that I move is to make sure you get the message however you can receive it. That's why I chose that arrangement of Giving Up by Jennifer Holliday, because she used so many methods. She was moaning, she was groaning, she was talking that thing, she yelled at us. She came from her throat. It was guttural one time when she said, give it up. She even brought in the instruments. Let everything that has breath up in here help me get my message across, that we know that it's hard for you to stop following whiteness, but you do have the capacity. You do have the ability. So however she wanted to get there, she used everything she had. So I'm using everything I got. When we do the discovery meetings, if they're not going to hear the black woman in front of the room, let's not put the black woman in front of the room. But sometimes we need to challenge them with the black woman in front of the room, and that's what we do. But whatever it takes for y'all to get the message, because some of y'all, especially black folks, y'all keep saying the man does this and the man does that, but it's in the black nation, as a tribe, we have bought into the same stuff. We bought into this notion that man is the head of the household. The Bible don't say that. No. The Bible does not. Yes, the Bible says that, I think. But if we go back to Genesis chapters, when Adam and Eve were created, we're using the word Adam as meaning male. We use the word Eve as meaning female. That's our language. That's not the language of the text. The language of the text, the Adonai, is humanity. So what God did was created Adam, created humanity. And then what God did was create Eve, according to how we look at it. So he created a man, then he created a woman. But if we stick with the text, God created humanity. In God's image, he created both humanity. So now you say, well, what does God mean in the text? Because some of y'all believe that God said every word in the text. So then what does God mean when there's an Adam here and an Eve here? What God means is that I'm showing you that humanity can look more than one way. So God does not create hierarchy. God creates diversity. That's what the scripture. But because we use our own language, we get over here in the New Testament, we're still using the same language, and we making up stuff based on a language that we don't understand because we have yet to see law. Pause and come and think about this thing. And that's what the caller asks you to do. Go somewhere, go to your mom and dad and say, "Hey, I'm so grateful that you bought that I was born a sinner. Thank you." Thank you for coming together to create a sinner. That don't even make sense. So that's what the call is arguing. We have got to get to the point where we stop letting our emotions rule our minds. And we got to stop allowing our minds to be fed by somebody who doesn't even understand the difference that we bring into the space. Instead, they look at it as deficient. And so I had to bring Jeremiah right in because some of y'all still running around here talking about women can't preach and women can't, and the man's supposed to do this. And that is why. That is one of the factors. Well, we are not as far along as we should be. That's one of the factors. Because Black folks, we just as complicit in sexism as white people are, as patriarchy is. And we got to talk about these things. That's another reason why I said I don't mind having a conversation about maybe Tweet was touching herself. Maybe this was masturbation. If it was, let's talk about it. Let's calmly think about this. What does that mean? That means she understands what it feels like to be human and begin to explore your own body. Like, is that a sin? Now watch. Somebody gonna say, yeah, because it's in the Bible. When the story about the man who spilled the seed. That's what y'all gonna say. But again, why is you listening to the Bible? Like, why do you take everything without thinking about it? Why do you take everything out of its proper context? Why do you let people tell you stuff that even when you sit down, it don't make sense, but you're scared to say it out loud? Honor your mind when it says, wait a minute. Honor your mind when it says, let me take another look at this thing. Honor your mind when even if you use the Bible says if you want to do something, count the cost. Honor your mind. Let me think about what this is going to cost me. Is it going to cost me economically? Is it going to cost me spiritually? Is it going to cost me theologically? How is it going to cost me? Do I have enough? Like, let's think this thing through. So if you want to use the Bible, you make it work for you. Right now, we're using it in a way where it does not serve us, but it can serve us. That principle in the Bible is helpful. Apply it to your life. This part about the sinner, that don't serve you nowhere. Don't apply that part to your life. That's how you can make the Bible work for you. Think. Here is Lo. So Lo, like, I guess I want to ask you about this. Maybe you can help me understand because, like, people can't see that when you write and you wrote the way you spell God, you left out the O and you put a hyphen there instead of the O because you are thinking about the way that the Jewish culture did not believe that it was even proper to say the name of God. And so they were like, listen, we ain't gonna, it's too sacred to even fall out of our mouths. And so I feel like that's what you're doing, but I don't know how to say that. Like if I'm reading this, like I don't know how to say that to the people. So I feel like I'm not really communicating your comment very well because they don't know. They can't see how you wrote it. But anyway, in God's image, his image is spirit, not flesh and blood. In God's image, his image is spirit, not flesh and blood. Yes. And so I just started a church. Every Tuesday night is the church live on Facebook from 7 to 8 o'clock. It used to be called the Good Fight, but when I made the Good Fight the church, the 501c3. So the ministry that we do, church, under the Good Fight, now it's called Beyond the Page. Because the point of us, we're coming together to reason. We're coming together to think about our faith. We're coming together to wrestle with it, to ask questions, to go back and forth, to think about this stuff, think on these things. That's what we're doing. And I call it Beyond the Page because even in the Bible, it says that it's the letter, the words that do not breathe. It's the letters that kill. The word kills, but it's the spirit that gives life. And so, yes, we are reading the words on the page, but then we are allowing them to be animated by our spirit so they become something that we can use now instead of something that continues to keep us in bondage from what they believed back in the day. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying nothing about nobody, mom and dad. However you would talk, I'm not saying anything against that. I'm not saying anything against that. What I'm saying is now, in a new day, in a new season, with new language, with new understanding, with new experiences, with a new body. You got a different body than you had when you were going to church with your mama and daddy. Now look at it. Now return to it and see what you see now. Are you open? And do you even, wait, maybe that's the question. Do you even trust your mind? Or do you need somebody else to tell? Oh, that's a good question. I just thought about that. So Romans says, what image does a spirit make? What image does a spirit make? Somebody want to answer that? 501-433-0088. We got 3 minutes. I'll answer it for me. The image that the spirit makes is whatever image the spirit exists in, which is why I don't realize how difficult it is for people to recognize that they are God. Because God can't show up without you. If it's a spirit, how the spirit gonna show up without you? The spirit, even Jesus, the Bible even argues the case for me in Jesus. I mean, yeah, through Jesus. John chapter 1, verse 14. And the word, what? Became flesh. Because this pie in the sky, this pie in the sky God that you have, that's away from, disembodied. It doesn't have, this God doesn't have a body. Evidently, God, if we believe it, well, I don't even want to say if you believe it, I can interpret it without believing it. So I can interpret it as such that says, hey, I want them to get a better understanding of who I am and how I move among them. And so I know I can't stay up here doing it because they can't feel me. They can't see me like they can't see me. They might can feel me, but they can't see me like this. So I want them to be able to see that I understand humanity. So I'm gonna show up as human so that they can get a better understanding. And we done turned the thing all into a cult. All God was trying to say was, listen, I want you to know that I can be right beside you. I can look just like somebody that means something to you. I can look just like a leader in your community. I can look just like somebody that you revere. I can look just like you, and I can have conversations with. I can do all of that. So let me show up in the flesh. So God, if Jesus is God in the flesh, then all of us who believe we were created by God and we have flesh, we Jesus too. But we show up again looking different. We show up as humans. And because I am woman, I show up different than you do as man or whatever gender you call yourself or even don't call yourself. And so we show up as different. So that's the image I believe in the spirit. My brother's on the line. You better Dr. Derek Donnell. Come on, preach up in here. Oh, am I preaching? I don't be trying to preach, y'all. And so that's what I'm going to leave us with today. And I'm going to leave us with this song. I played it on Community Voices not too long ago. I played the version that was with Gregory Porter and Layla Hathaway. Everything Must Change. But this time, y'all, I want y'all to hear Olita Adams sing. My best friend, when I was out last week and I was eulogizing one of my former parishioners in Gulfport, when I was with my best friend, I stayed the night at his house to break up the drive. He said, you need to hear it. You need to hear Olita. So now I want y'all to hear Olita. Y'all stay with it. Stay with it. Because she gonna do something funky in the middle. I didn't see it coming. First, I didn't like it. Now I'm like, you better let every breath. So here is Olita Adams singing. Oh, you've been listening to The Workplace right here, KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. Don't touch that dial. You got some more music and talk coming up that you need to get free. So stay right here, and I'm going to leave you with Olita Adams singing Everything Must Change. Selah. Pause and think about that.
Must change.